Good afternoon, students. In the last class, we were discussing about the errors and types of errors. Right. So today, the continuing part is combination of errors. Right. So in the name itself mentioned combination. Combination means two or more errors if we measure together. So that we call as combination of errors, right? So for example, if we want to measure the any physical quantity, right? For example, if we take density, right? So density is a physical quantity. If we want to measure the densities, right? So to measure the density, first we need to measure mass and volume, right? So here mass is one physical quantity, volume is also one physical quantity, right? So here we get the combination of two errors. So one error which is occurred in measuring during the mass and the another error which is occurred during measuring the volume, right? So these two errors combined together we can find the error in density. Right, so ಎರಡು errors ಇರುತ್ತೆ. So ಆ ಎರಡು errors ನ together we study, so that we call as combination of errors, right? So this is one example. So combination of errors ನ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂತೀವಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಯಾವ್ದಾದ್ರು ಒಂದು ಫಿಸಿಕಲ್ ಕ್ವಾಂಟಿಟಿ ನ ಮೆಜರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ, so there it occurs some error, right? So ಎಷ್ಟೊಂದು error ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಆ error ಯಾವ್ದ್ರಿಂದ ಬಂದಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ that is from two other physical quantity, that is one is mass and another one is volume, right? So say we can take area. So area is a physical quantity. Here we are in measuring the value of area. So here error is occurring. So that is due to length and breadth. So that is length into breadth. So length is a physical quantity. Again, breadth is a physical quantity. So length na measure ಮಾಡಿ error ಬರುತ್ತೆ. breadth na measure ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಕೂಡ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ error ಬರುತ್ತೆ. So ಈ ಎರಡು errors ನ combined ಆಗಿ ನಾವು value na measure ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. So that is due to the combination of errors, right? So ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ derivations ಅಥವಾ concepts four types ಇದೆ. That is, first one is errors in sum, right? So sum means addition, right? So if we consider two physical quantities, one physical quantity is A and another physical quantity is B, right? So these physical quantities are of same kind. That means A and B are the physical quantities of same kind, right? So ಎರಡು ಕೂಡ ನಮಗೆ ಸೇಮ್ ಕೈಂಡ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಇದನ್ನ ಲೆಂತ್ ನ ಮೆಜರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಬಿ ಕೂಡ ಏನಾಗಿರ್ಬೇಕು, ನಮಗೆ ಲೆಂತ್ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಮೆಜರ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇರ್ಬೇಕು, ರೈಟ್? ಸೊ ಏನು ನಾವು ಲೆಂತ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮೆಜರ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬಿ ನ ನಾವು ಮಾಸ್ ಅಥವಾ ಕೆಜಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮೆಜರ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಎರಡನ್ನೂ ಆಡ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕಾಗುತ್ತಾ, ಲೆಂತ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಕೆಜಿ ನ? So length is one physical quantity and again mass is the another physical quantity. So ಎರಡು ಆಡ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಎರಡು ಕೂಡ ಏನಿರಬೇಕು, ನಮಗೆ same physical quantity ಆಗಿರಬೇಕು. So hence A and B are the physical quantities of the same kind, right? So if we measure the physical quantity and combine together these two physical quantities, so that we taken Z, right? So sum of errors or errors in sum, Z is a physical quantity which is measured by measuring the two physical quantities A and B, right? So that is Z is equals to A plus B, right? So that means true values. So A ಅನ್ನೋದು ಒಂದು true value, B ಅನ್ನೋದು ಕೂಡ ಒಂದು true value. So ಎರಡನ್ನ ಆಡ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ನಮಗೆ ಒಂದು true value ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಅದು ಯಾವುದು ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ Z, right? So next, so errors ನ ಸ್ಟಡಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ there is a error delta A. So delta indicates what? Absolute error, right? So delta A and delta B. So these are the two errors which occurred in measuring A and measuring B, right? So delta A and delta B are the absolute errors occurs during measuring the physical quantity A and B respectively. So A ನ ಮೆಜರ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ನಮಗೆ ಅಬ್ಸಲ್ಯೂಟ್ ಎರರ್ ಬರೋದು ಯಾವುದು ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಡೆಲ್ಟಾ A, B ನ ಮೆಜರ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ನಮಗೆ ಅಬ್ಸಲ್ಯೂಟ್ ಎರರ್ ಯಾವುದು ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಡೆಲ್ಟಾ B, right? So delta A and delta B are the absolute errors while measuring the physical quantities A and B respectively, right? So ಇದು ಇಂಡಿವಿಜುವಲ್ ಆಯ್ತು. Then finally Z. So Z ಗೆ ನಮಗೆ ಎರರ್ ಬರ್ತಿದೆ ತಾನೆ, ಓವರ್ ಆಲ್ ಎರರ್ ನ ನಾವು ಫೈಂಡ್ ಔಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ some value is getting, so that error will taken as delta Z, right? So delta Z is also the absolute error of Z, right? So that is the final value. So final value ನಾವು ಏನು ಮೆಜರ್ ಮಾಡಿದೀವಿ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ absolute error ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. So ಅದೇನಿದೆ ನಮಗೆ delta Z, right? So this is up to now consideration. So first we consider two physical quantities of similar kind. So these two similar quantities, if we had, we get one more physical quantity, that is Z, right? So that value is equals to sum of other two physical quantities. So this value is the true value, right? So delta A and delta B are the errors while measuring the physical quantity A and physical quantity B, right? So finally A ದಲ್ಲಿ ಎರರ್ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, B ದಲ್ಲಿ ಎರರ್ ಬರ್ತಿದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ Z ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗೆ ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ ಎರರ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಆ ಎರರ್ ಯಾವುದು ಇದೆ ನಮಗೆ ಡೆಲ್ಟಾ Z. So delta Z is also the absolute error of Z, right? Next, these are the true values, right? So A ಅನ್ನೋದು true value, B ಅನ್ನೋದು ಕೂಡ true value. Now the measured value. Measured value of A is A plus delta A. That is either it may be plus or it may be minus. For example, ನಾವು ಯಾವುದೋ A quantity ನ ಮೆಜರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ವಿ, ಇದ್ರದ್ದು ಟ್ರೂ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ some 10 meters ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, so error ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, that error we call as absolute error. So this error value may be greater, that means plus ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇರಬಹುದು or 9 meter ಮೈನಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೂ ಇರಬಹುದು, right? So 10 ಗಿನ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಇರಬಹುದು ಅಥವಾ 10 ಗಿನ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇರಬಹುದು, hence we taken plus or minus delta A. So here error is how much? Plus 1, here error is minus 1, right? So ನಮಗೆ plus 1 ಆದ್ರೂ ಇರಬಹುದು minus 1 ಆದ್ರೂ ಇರಬಹುದು, ಯಾವುದು ನಮಗೆ measured value, right? So same wise measured value of B is B plus or minus delta B. So same wisely B is also a physical quantity, ಇದನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ನಾವು ಮೆಜರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ, right? So this value also getting some error. ನಾವು ಮೆಜರ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗಿದ್ರೆ B physical quantity ಅದನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ನಮಗೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಎರರ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಆ ಎರರ್ ಎಷ್ಟಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ B plus or minus delta B. So here also the value may be plus value or minus value, right? So finally ಎರಡರಲ್ಲೂ plus or minus value ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ final we are going to measure the Z, right? So we get the measured value is Z plus delta Z, right? That is also plus or minus. So plus delta Z irbodu athwa minus delta Z irbodu, right? So Z plus delta Z, that is equals to A plus B, that is measured values. So this two enayitu, this is about the true value, right? So here this is the measured value, right? So measured value Z plus delta Z, that is plus or minus delta Z, that is equals to A plus or minus delta A plus B plus or minus delta B. So rearranging the values A plus B, so here plus or minus, so from these two terms plus or minus everything is same ide. So plus or minus, if we take common, delta A plus delta B, right? So ಎರಡು ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಟರ್ಮ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾಮನ್ ತೆಗೆದ್ರೆ ವಿತ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಬ್ರಾಕೆಟ್ ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಎರಡು ಮೈನಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂಡ ನಾವು ಮೈನಸ್ ಕಾಮನ್ ತೆಗೆದ್ರೆ ವಿತ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಬ್ರಾಕೆಟ್ ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ ನಮಗೆ ಆಲ್ವೇಸ್ ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ದಟ್ಸ್ ವೈ ಹಿಯರ್ delta A plus delta B, right? So if we take on this as first equation, right? So Z plus or minus delta Z, right? So here also Z plus or minus delta z, that is equals to, so in place of a plus b, so from first equation, so first equation ಅಲ್ಲಿ a plus b na ಏನಂತ replace ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬಹುದು, z, right? So z plus or minus delta a plus or plus delta b, right? So in the LHS also we have z, in the RHS also we have z, right? So cancel ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. So here also plus or minus get cancels. So the absolute error delta z, that is equals to sum of the individual absolute errors, right? So this one is the final expression for the sum of errors, right? So ಇದಕ್ಕೆ conclusion ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ, absolute error of the final physical quantity, that is equals to sum of the individual absolute errors of the physical quantity, right? So because delta a and delta b are the absolute errors, right? So delta z is the absolute error of z, right? So if we take one example, we have some mass m1 that is equals to some 30 plus or minus 0.8 kg, right? So same wise, the another mass m2 that is equals to some 20 plus or minus 0.2 kg, right? So here 0.8 and 0.2 indicates what? Absolute errors, right? So we need to find the error in m, right? So the true value m equals to m1 plus m2, right? That is equals to m1 value is 30 plus or minus 0.8 plus 20 plus or minus 0.2, right? So from the given data, a plus b, right? So 30 plus 20, 50, right? So here plus or minus 0.8 plus or minus 0.2. So error is plus or minus, always the absolute errors are adding, right? So ಎರಡು ಕೂಡ ಯಾವಾಗ ಏನಾಗಬೇಕು, ನಮಗೆ ಆಡ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು. So 0.8 plus 0.2, that is 1.0 kg, right? So true value ಎಷ್ಟಾಗುತ್ತೆ ನಮಗೆ 50, right? So error ಎಷ್ಟಿದೆ, absolute error 1. So ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಆರ್ ಮೈನಸ್ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಒನ್ ಟೈಮ್ 0.8 plus 0.2 ಮಾಡೋದಾಗ್ಲಿ, ಮತ್ತೆ ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಒಂದನ್ನ ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಇನ್ನೊಂದನ್ನ ಮೈನಸ್ ತಗೊಳ್ಳೋದಾಗ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡೋಂಗಿಲ್ಲ, right? Because here we get the equation as absolute errors, that is directly delta a plus delta b. That means absolute errors ನಾವು ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಏನು ಮಾಡಬಹುದು, ಎರಡನ್ನೂ ಆಡ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು, right? So this is errors in sum, right? So next second one is errors in difference, that means subtraction, right? So same, considering two physical quantities of same kind, right? So final, if we measure the physical quantity, that is difference of two physical quantities, that we can take z is equals to a minus b, right? Now delta a and delta b are the absolute errors occurs during measuring the physical quantity of a and b, right? So again delta z is the absolute error of z. So if we measure the physical quantities a and b, we getting the measured values of a is a plus or minus delta a. So ನಾವು ಯಾವುದೇ ಒಂದು ಇಂಡಿವಿಜುವಲ್ ಫಿಸಿಕಲ್ ಕ್ವಾಂಟಿಟಿನ ಮೆಜರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎರರ್ಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಎರರ್ಸ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಏನಾಗಿರಬಹುದು, ನಮಗೆ ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ಬೋದು ಅಥವಾ ಮೈನಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ಬೋದು. Here also we taken plus or minus. So same way, if we measure the physical quantity b, here also the errors are occurring. So that error is, we taken measured value is b plus or minus delta b, right? So measured value, so here we have taken z plus or minus delta z, that is equals to a plus or minus delta a minus within the bracket b plus or minus delta b, right? So A, if we remove the bracket, minus into plus, we getting minus B, right? So here minus into plus minus, so minus into minus plus, again here we are getting plus or minus, right? So that is plus or minus. So delta A plus delta B, right? So ಇದು ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಿಮಗೆ plus or minus delta A plus or minus delta B, right? So ಇದನ್ನ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಕೇಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ plus delta A plus delta B ಅಂತ ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ, ಸೊ ಎರಡು ಟರ್ಮ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಕಾಮನ್ ತೆಗೆದ್ರೆ ರಿಮೈನಿಂಗ್ ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ delta A plus delta B, right? So the second case ಅಲ್ಲಿ minus delta A minus delta B, right? So ಇವೆರಡರ ಮೈನಸ್ ಕಾಮನ್ ತೆಗೆದ್ರೆ ಏನು ಉಳಿಯುತ್ತೆ delta A plus delta B. So that means plus comma ತೆಗೆದ್ರು within the bracket plus ಇರುತ್ತೆ, so minus comma ತೆಗೆದ್ರು within the bracket plus ಇರುತ್ತೆ, right? So that's why if you taken common outside plus or minus bracket ಇಂದ ಹೊರಗೆ ತೆಗೆದ್ರೆ always we getting delta A plus delta B, right? So again A minus B from equation 1, that is substitute Z. So Z get cancelled, plus or minus get cancelled. Again delta Z is equals to delta A plus delta B, right? So same ಇದೆ, ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ difference ಇದೆ. So difference between two physical quantities, so that is A minus B. So ಇಲ್ಲಿ absolute error ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ ನಮಗೆ sum ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, right? For this, consider for the same example, so m1 minus m2, right? So here minus 20 plus or minus 0.1, right? So here we are getting A minus B, the 30 minus 20, how much? 10, right? So again absolute error is how much? Delta A plus delta B. So absolute error is 0.8 plus 0.2, right? So again we are getting 1, right? So error ಎಷ್ಟು ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ನಮಗೆ 1 kg ಅಷ್ಟು error ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, right? So errors in sum and errors in difference, so almost ಎಲ್ಲಾನು ಸೇಮ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಬಟ್ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ನಾವು ತಗೊಂತಾ ಇರೋ ಟ್ರೂ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಮೆಜರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು ಡಿಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಬಟ್ ಅಬ್ಸಲ್ಯೂಟ್ ಎರರ್ ಯಾವ್ದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ನಮಗೆ ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲೇನೆ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, right? So next third one, errors in product, right? So product nothing but multiplication. So multiplication of two same physical quantities, right? So multiplication ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ A into B, that is AB, right? So measured value again Z plus or minus delta Z, that is equals to product of two errors, that is product of two errors in measured value, right? That is A plus delta A, that is plus or minus delta A into B plus or minus delta B, right? So multiply these two terms, right? So A into B, AB plus or minus B into delta A plus or minus A into delta B, so plus or minus delta A delta B, right? So A plus B into A plus B, multiply ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ A into B, AB, so A into delta A into B, that is B into delta A, right? So A into delta B, A delta B, right? So delta A into delta B, delta A into delta B, right? So the absolute errors values are very less. So delta means small change, right? So delta A and delta B ಎರಡು small change ಇದೆ, ಎರಡನ್ನು multiply ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಕೂಡ again we are getting the smaller one, right? So for example 0.1 into 0.1, so 0.1 is lesser value compared to 1, here also 0.1 is lesser value compared to 1, so ಎರಡನ್ನು multiply ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ 0.01, right? So that means 0.01 is lesser than 0.1, right? So ಈ ಎರಡು values ನ multiply ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ again we are getting lesser value, hence we can neglect this term. So ಈ term ನ ನಾವು complete again ಮಾಡಬಹುದು, neglect, right? Z plus or minus delta Z. So in place of AB, again from the first equation we can write that one as Z, right? So Z plus or minus delta Z, that is equals to Z plus or minus B delta A plus or minus A delta B. Right? So plus Z, here also in the LHS plus Z get cancelled, right? So we can take plus or minus delta Z. So here also we can take plus or minus common. So B delta A plus A delta B. So ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂಡ same rule apply ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Plus or minus common ತೆಗೆದ್ರೆ within the bracket always we get the plus value, right? So plus or minus get cancels. So delta Z, that is equals to B delta A plus A delta B, right? So now this equation, that is whole equation, is divided by AB, right? So whole equation na yavralli divide ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, AB alli divide ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. So that is delta Z divided by AB, that is equals to B delta A divided by AB. So BB get cancelled, we get delta A by A plus here also delta B, A get cancelled, we get that one is B, right? So idu yavudakke formula agirutte. So AB again from the first equation we can write delta Z by Z, that is equals to delta A by A plus delta B by B. ಯಾವ್ದ್ರದ್ದು ಫಾರ್ಮುಲಾ ಇದು? delta Z by Z ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೆ. Relative error than absolute error to the true value, right? Delta Z is absolute error divided by Z is what? True value, right? So relative error of Z, that is equals to sum of relative error of A plus relative error of B, right? So ನಮಗೆ relative error ಬರ್ತಿದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ we can also find the percentage error, right? So that is percentage error is delta Z by Z into 100, that is equals to delta A by A into 100 plus delta B divided by B into 100. So this is percentage, right? So ನಮಗೆ relative error ಮತ್ತೆ percentage error ಯಾವಾಗ ಬರುತ್ತೆ? Error in product, right? So absolute errors ಯಾವಾಗ ಬರುತ್ತೆ? Summation and difference. So sum ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಮತ್ತೆ difference ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಬರೋದು absolute errors, right? So product ಮತ್ತೆ division, right? So that is in fraction. So ಯಾವ್ದಾದ್ರು two physical quantities fractions ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇತ್ತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗೆ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು ಯಾವ್ದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. So A and B ಅನ್ನೋ physical quantities same kind ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇರಬಹುದು ಅಥವಾ different kind ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂಡ ಇರಬಹುದು, right? You can multiply those two physical quantities, right? So mass is one physical quantity, acceleration is another physical quantity. So mass into acceleration, we getting Z as force, F is equals to m into A, right? So ಎರಡನ್ನು ನಾವು multiply ಮಾಡಬಹುದು, right? So percentage error ಮತ್ತೆ relative error will occur by multiplying or division. So now division ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ relative error ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಅಥವಾ multiply ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ relative error ಬರುತ್ತೆ. So relative error ಬರ್ತಿದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ we can easily find the percentage error, right? So percentage error that is equals to relative error into 100%, right? So if we consider one example, right? So mass m1, that is some. So example again in the first m1 30 plus or minus 0. m2 20 plus or minus 0.8. So ಇದನ್ನ ನಮಗೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟು find the relative error. So find the relative error ಅಂದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ನಾವು ಯಾವ ಫಾರ್ಮುಲಾ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು? delta z by z, right? So that is relative error, right? So that is equals to delta z is what? Absolute error, right? So that is 0.8 in A. True value is 30, right? So that is 0.8 divided by 30 plus the second value absolute error is 0.2 divided by the true value is 20, right? So this we can write 8 by 300 plus 2 by 200 because numerator ಅಲ್ಲಿ one decimal shift ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ denominator ಅಲ್ಲಿ 1 0 add ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. So LCM ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ simplify ಮಾಡಿ 1 by 100 ಕಾಮನ್ ತೆಗೆದ್ರೆ so LCM ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ 8 to the 16 plus 3 to the 6 divided by 6, right? So 16 plus 6 22 by 600. So this gives what? The relative error, right? So the same if you want to find the percentage error. So idralle ನಾವು percentage error find out ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ percentage error that is equals to relative error into 100%, right? So ನಾವು ಅದನ್ನ ಇಂಡಿವಿಜುವಲ್ ಆಗೋದನ್ನು ನೀವು percentage ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಥವಾ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ relative error ನ find out 100 ಇಂದ multiply ಆಗೋದು, right? So that is 22 by 600 into 100. So 2020 get cancels. So 22 by 6 ಎಷ್ಟು ಆಗುತ್ತೆ? 6 is 18, right? 6 5 is 30, 6 6 is 36. Approximately that is 3.6 what percent, right? So ಯಾವುದಾದ್ರೂ ಎರಡು ಫಿಸಿಕಲ್ ಕ್ವಾಂಟಿಟೀಸ್ ನ ನಾವು ಮಲ್ಟಿಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗೆ ಎರರ್ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಆ ಎರರ್ ಎಷ್ಟಿರುತ್ತೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ 3.6%, right? So relative error ಗೆ ಯಾವುದೇ ತರದ ಯೂನಿಟ್ ಇರೋದಿಲ್ಲ, right? So previous absolute error ಎರಡರಲ್ಲೂ ನಾವು ಫೈಂಡ್ ಔಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದ್ವಲ್ಲ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗೆ ಮಾಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ರೆ ಮಾಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದಿರುತ್ತೆ, ಲೆಂತ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ರೆ ಮೀಟರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದಿರುತ್ತೆ. ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಮಾಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದ್ರೆ ಕೆಜಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದಿರುತ್ತೆ, ಲೆಂತ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದ್ರೆ ಮೀಟರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದಿರುತ್ತೆ, right? So this is one example. So ನಿಮಗೆ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಇದು ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. So after this you can take the example. So example ಇತ್ತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, right? So next, errors in fraction or division, right? So one physical quantity is divided by another physical quantity, right? So that becomes z is equals to A divided by B. So from here right? So measure value z plus delta z that is equals to A divided by B. So in the numerator A plus or minus delta A whole divided by b plus or minus delta b, right? So denominator value we can shift to the numerator. So a plus or minus delta a into b plus or minus delta b whole power minus 1, right? So now from these two quantities we can take a and b common. So a ಮತ್ತೆ b ಎರಡನ್ನು common ತೆಗೆದ್ರೆ from the first term a taken common 1 plus delta a by a, right? So from the second term b, so its power is minus 1, right? That is b power minus 1, 1 plus or minus delta b divided by b whole power minus 1, right? So this we can write a divided by b, 1 plus delta a by a into 1 plus or minus delta b divided by b whole power minus 1. So mathematical induction ಆಗಿದೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಮ್ಯಾಥ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಈ ಟರ್ಮ್ ನ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದಲ್ಲ, 1 plus x whole power minus 1 ಏನ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಟರ್ಮ್ ನ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ? ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಸಾಲ್ವ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ತಾನೆ 1 plus x 1 minus x whole square whole cube. mathematical induction ಆಗಿದೆ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ? ಆಗಿದೆ ತಾನೆ? ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಯಾಂಡ್ಸ್ ನೋಡು ಇಲ್ಲ, 1 plus x whole power 1, 1 plus 1 minus 1, 1 minus x whole power minus 1. Solve ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ ಈ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ಸ್, expands, right? So this we can write z plus or minus delta z, that is equals to, so a by b. So from the first equation we can write this one as z. So a by b na ಏನು ಬರ್ಕೋಬಹುದು? z ಅಂತ ಬರೀಬಹುದು, right? So keeping as is 1 plus delta a by a, right? So from the binomial theorem, so ಇದನ್ನ expand ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ here if we expand 1 minus x by 1 factorial plus x square by 2 factorial, so on we are getting, right? So same, that is corners 1 plus x by 1 factorial plus x square by 2 factorial and so on, right? So idara barutte, but here plus or minus irodrinda namage plus idru minus idru ಏನು ವೇರಿ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. So here x square x cube, so next ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ x power 4, that means delta b value ಏನಾಗ್ತಾ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ ನಮಗೆ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. That means here 1, so example from beginning 1 plus delta b by b plus delta b by b whole square by 2 plus delta b by b whole cube by 3 factorial, right? So that means delta b square, so 0.1 square, so 0.1 square is again 0.01, so 0.1 cube again 0.001, right? So higher orders allira powers ಎಲ್ಲ ಏನಾಗ್ತಾ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ, values lesser ಆಗ್ತಾ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ. So we can neglect the higher order terms. So higher order terms ನಾವು neglect ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂತೀವಿ. So from that we can write 1 plus or minus delta b divided by b, right? So ಅದು ನಿಮಗೆ ಮ್ಯಾಥ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. But now in physics almost higher order terms na neglect ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದ್ರಿಂದ we can directly write. So ಇಲ್ಲಿ plus or minus ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಎರಡು ಕೇಸ್ ಆದ್ರೂ plus or minus ಬರುತ್ತೆ. In case ಇಲ್ಲಿ minus ಇತ್ತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಸೈನ್ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಚೇಂಜ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, right? So z plus or minus delta z, that is equals to z. So now multiply a and b. So first term is the second term, 1 into 1 plus or minus delta a by a, right? So plus or minus delta b by b, right? Again plus or minus delta a delta b divided by ab, right? So here also the same case, delta a and delta b. So product ಆಗಿತ್ತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಈ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, lesser value ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. So that we can neglect, right? So z plus or delta z. So z na within bracket multiply ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ z plus or minus taken common z into delta a by a plus delta b by b, right? So z in the RHS, z in the LHS get cancelled, plus or minus get cancelled. So z ಇದೆ ಇದನ್ನ LHS ಗೆ ಶಿಫ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ delta z by z, that is equals to delta a by a plus delta b by b. Again this gives what? ಯಾವುದು ಇದು ನಮಗೆ ಯಾವ ಎರರ್? ರಿಲೇಟಿವ್ ಎರರ್, right? So product ಮತ್ತೆ division ಎರಡರಲ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ ನಮಗೆ ಯಾವ ಎರರ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ? ರಿಲೇಟಿವ್ ಎರರ್, right? So in the same way percentage error, right? That is delta z by z into 100, that is equals to delta a by into 100 plus delta b by b into 100, right? So these are the errors in different cases, right? So sum ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ error ಬರುತ್ತೆ, subtract ಮಾಡಿದಾಗಲೂ ಕೂಡ error ಬರುತ್ತೆ. So sum and subtraction ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರೋ errors absolute error ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. Product ಮತ್ತೆ division ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರೋ error ಯಾವ್ದಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ ನಮಗೆ? Relative error ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ, right? So find the relative error of the two physical quantities ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಎರಡು values ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದೆ. So directly you need to substitute this formula, right? So ನೀವು ಮತ್ತೆ z by delta z, so delta z error ನಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಇದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ರಿಲೇಟಿವ್ ಎರರ್ ಅಂತಾನೆ ಈಕ್ವೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂತೀವಿ. ಮತ್ತೆ ನೀವು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂಸ್ ನ ಸಬ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡಕ ಹೋಗಬೇಡಿ, right? So this is all about the errors, right? So the last topic of this chapter is significant figures, right? So almost already you chemistry study ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀರಾ, right? Significant figures, ಏನು significant figures ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ? ಏನು significant figures? Significant figures are the numbers to how much approximately we are going to measure the values. That means nearer values ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಏನು ಮೆಜರ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂತೀವೋ ಅದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಏನಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ? Significant figures. That means accuracy, how much nearer we are accurating the measured values, right? So that we call as the significant figures, right? So ಇದರ ಡೆಪ್ತ್ ಆಗಿ ಏನು ಹೇಳೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ಕೆಮಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ, just rules, right? So rules of significant figures, right? So first rule, all non-zero digits are significant figures. So significant figures ಅಂದ್ರೆ just a digits ಅಷ್ಟೇ, right? So all non-zero digits are significant figures, right? So here we take the column significant figures, right? So all non-zero numbers. So ಯಾವುದಾದ್ರೂ ಒಂದು ನಂಬರ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ zero ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅದಿಷ್ಟು ಕೂಡ ನಾವು ಯಾವುದನ್ನ ಅಂತ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂತೀವಿ? ಸಿಗ್ನಿಫಿಕೆಂಟ್ ಫಿಗರ್, ರೈಟ್? ಸೊ ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ 12. ಸೊ 12 ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವುದೇ zero ಇಲ್ಲ, ಸೊ ಸಿಗ್ನಿಫಿಕೆಂಟ್ ಫಿಗರ್ ಎಷ್ಟಾಗುತ್ತೆ? 2, right? Next 1 2 3. So here also non-zero number, significant figure is 3. Next 1 2 3 4, right? So this one is the first rule, right? So next second rule. So second rule ಏನು ಹೇಳುತ್ತೆ? All zeros occur between the non-zero numbers, between non-zero numbers or non-zero digits or significant figures. So ಯಾವುದಾದ್ರು ಎರಡು ಡಿಜಿಟ್ ಮಿಡಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ 0 ಬಂತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕೂಡ ಅದನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ನಾವು ಒಂದು ಸಿಗ್ನಿಫಿಕೆಂಟ್ ಫಿಗರ್ ಅಂತ that means that is also be considered one digit, right? So for example 102, so 0 is occur between two non-zero digits. So one is non-zero, two is non-zero, so 0 is lies between two non-zero numbers or digits. So significant figure is 3. So 0 ನ ಕೂಡ ನಾವು ಏನಂತ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ವಿ, one significant figure ಅಂತ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, right? So 1002, so two zeros between two non-digit numbers, so significant figure is 4, right? So 10203, right? So 10 is lies between two non-digit number and another 0 is lies again between two non-zero numbers, so the significant figure is yes sir 5. So next third, ಈ ಕಾಲಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮತ್ತೆ ನೀವು ಯಾವುದೋ ಕಾಲಮ್ ಗೆ ಯಾವುದನ್ನ ಲೈನ್ ಡ್ರಾ ಮಾಡೋದು. So third significant, all zeros to the last digit, right, of the last non-zero digit or not significant figure, right? So all zeros to the right of last non-zero digit, right? So example 20, right? So 2 is a digit, that is non-zero digit, right? So ಯಾವುದಾದ್ರೂ ನಂಬರ್ ಗೆ ರೈಟ್ ಸೈಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ 0 ಇತ್ತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಸಿಗ್ನಿಫಿಕೆಂಟ್ ಫಿಗರ್ ಅಂತ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಮಾಡೋದಿಲ್ಲ, right? So here significant figure is yes sir 1. So same by 200, so here also significant figure is 1, right? So 20300, so significant figure is 3. Why? Because two zeros are left right to that of the last non-zero number, right? So significant figure is 3, right? Spare the possible cases. So if in case 2 1 0 3 4 5 5 zeros ಇತ್ತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ significant figure again 1. So ಈ ತರ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ ಇದು or 2 into 10 power 5. So ಈ ತರ ಕೊಟ್ಟರು ಕೂಡ significant figure ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ 1. Next fourth one, all zeros to the right, all zeros to the right of the decimal point and to the left of non-zero digit or not significant, or not significant. So this one is the fourth one. All zeros to the right of the decimal point. So to the right of the decimal point means, so decimal point ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ right side ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟೇ zeros ಬರೋದು ಕೂಡ ಆ zeros ಏನಾಗಿರಲ್ಲ ನಮಗೆ significant figure ಆಗಲ್ಲ, right? So in this example significant figure is 1, right? So here 0.0102. So in this example significant figure ಎಷ್ಟಾಗುತ್ತೆ? Only 1 0 towards right of the decimal point, right? So again 0 is lies in between two non-digit numbers. ida tane significant figure count agutana, right? So significant figure is 3, right? So one more example, 0.0005. So in this example significant figure is 1, right? So last point, all zeros to the right, all zeros to the right of a decimal point, and to right of non-zero digit, or significant. So this is also comes under the decimal, right? So 0.100, right? So decimal point ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ non-zero digit ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಎಷ್ಟು zeros ಬರುತ್ತೋ ಆ ಎಲ್ಲ zeros ಕೂಡ ಯಾವುದರಲ್ಲಿ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, significant figure ಅಂತ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, right? So decimal ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ 1 is a non-zero digit, so after that we have two zeros, so that means significant figure is ಎಷ್ಟು 3. So 1 is a significant figure, 0 and 0. So 1, 2, 3. So 3 significant figure, right? So next 0.01002. So in this example, significant figure, decimal ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ towards right 0 ಇತ್ತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅದನ್ನ ನಾವು significant figure ಅಂತ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಮಾಡೋದಿಲ್ಲ. After that non zero digit ಇದೆ, ಈ non zero digit ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಎಷ್ಟೇ zeros ಇತ್ತು ಅಂದ್ರೂ ಕೂಡ ಅದನ್ನ significant figure ಆಗಿ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. So here the significant figure is 4, right? So 0.140. So significant figure is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So these are the 5 rules to find the significant figures, right? So by this we completed the chapter units and measurements, right? So in the next class we'll start with the new chapter, that is gravitation, right? Thank you.